我是88年的，虚岁38，浙江大学硕士毕业，没有结过婚，没有生过孩子。前些年光顾着挣钱，一心想着独立自主，要做独立女性，天天熬夜，身体也搞垮了，青春也没有了。现在高龄产妇了，生孩子也不太好生了，也不漂亮了，也不年轻了，关键是我也没挣着几个钱，还有负债。我现在要想找个条件好还未婚的男的几乎是不可能的了。你说要找个离异带娃的当后妈妈，心里又觉得很不甘心。说实话，我现在就想当一个寄生虫，想做全职主妇，想结婚生娃，相夫教子，但是真的找不到合适的了。
我现在这么大的年龄没有结婚，我父母也很难过。然后
At my age now, being still unmarried, my parents are also very sad, but now I feel that I have already reached this age stage. I can only live and survive in a way that fits this stage of my life. Of course, for each of us personally, in our whole life, we only get this one chance. I do not want to have regrets. I also do not want to feel remorse. I do not want to get married and then casually get divorced later. Of course, when you feel me in my current state now, I may look a bit ugly. Everyone please do not mind. Right now many men, they always attack my age, they attack my appearance. This was given to me by my parents. I have no way to change it. I also will not go and get plastic surgery. I am just this kind of genuine person. As such a genuine person, if I really wanted to be a gold-digging woman, do you think I would not be able to get money? I could get it, I could get money, but I am not willing. I just hope that everyone's days can all go well, and then it is enough if our lives are harmonious, peaceful, and happy. I no longer have extravagant hopes of finding my Prince Charming now.
最近很多就是大龄的女的没有结婚的这些开始崩溃了有在
Recently, many older single leftover women, the ones who still have not gotten married, these people have started to fall apart. There are those who are over their doing self-reflection. For example, they say, when I was young I was too picky, and now, I really regret it. I miss so many high-quality men. There are also those who are openly seeking a husband, saying that now I have adjusted my requirements, I only need this and that, as long as you are willing, I dare to marry. And there are some who are pretending to accept it, saying that now I also accept a life of never getting married, and of never having children. There are also some who are in pure meltdown, saying, why is society now so unfriendly to us older women? Why are we so outstanding yet cannot meet the partner we hope for? Have you ever thought about why they are breaking down more and more? Let me tell you, these are definitely not the ones who are the most broken. The ones who are the most broken will definitely be those who, after they reach the age of 40, even if a woman has had no such awareness before, once she reaches 40 she will also be forced to accept some cruel realities. The first reality is that she really is no longer young. I am 39 this year, almost 40. When I was 35, I never felt that I was any different from those young girls. My physical strength, my energy, my looks, I all felt were very good. The things you talked about I simply did not accept, but now do you still dare to say that? Do you dare to compare yourself with those young girls? I am just telling you, we do not need to compare faces. If you compare faces, she has beauty filters, she has makeup. You should compare hands, between an older woman and a young girl. Just one look at their hands and you can see the age difference. Really, if you do not believe it, you can go and take a look. So this is the first problem these older women face. That is the fact that I really am no longer young. The second reality is that they actually have not truly prepared themselves to accept the fact that they may go their whole life without children. When will the consequences of this really start to appear? That is, only when you truly face the topic of death will you have this deepest kind of understanding. When you are in your 30s, you simply will not even consider the fact that someday you may die, you simply do not come into contact with it. But when you are 40, you will find that this topic will enter into your field of vision. For example, when your parents pass away, or relatives and friends die, or people around you, even some of your colleagues, pass away, or even when we ourselves start to experience illness, at that time you will find that the way I had imagined the topic of death is completely different from what it really is. This is the second truth. The third truth is that you will find that the world has told you a huge lie. What you originally believed in, all of your persistence in being independent, in not marrying, in enjoying what you insisted was a beautiful life, has now instead turned into something that in other people's eyes looks like being crazy. That is, you used your most precious things, your reproductive value, your age-related advantages, and the reality that you will endure a lifetime of loneliness, to exchange for this kind of truth, and she simply cannot accept it. If at this time everyone thought, you are so independent, you are so wonderful, you are so unique, you are walking an unusual path that is meaningful. Then she might feel somewhat comforted. But now everyone will feel that in the end you turned out to be crazy, and when they discover that their own value is even lower than that of divorced women with children, most of them will collapse. But tell me, who can they blame now? I think they still have not collapsed enough. Really, the women who have already collapsed enough have already begun, in a very intense way, to adjust their understanding, to adjust their criteria for choosing a partner, and to go and work on their marriages. In fact, when you get down to it, they still want to use unfair conditions to obtain a higher so-called high price.
我90年的35岁，博士学历。
I was born in 1990. I am 35 years old. I have a PhD. After graduating from university, I worked as a flight attendant and as a university teacher, and now I have my own company. When I was young, I was foolish. I watched too much toxic motivational chicken soup content. I often saw things online saying, men are not reliable. We girls must rely on ourselves and be financially independent. So I have always worked desperately hard, worked hard to make money, worked hard to improve myself, and by now it has already been more than 10 years. I have bought a car, I have bought a home in my hometown, and I have some savings. But when I look back, the things that I have, married women also have, and they may even have more. Most importantly, they have their own children, they have happy families. But I, in the end, am by myself. Sometimes when I come home and want to talk, there is not even one person by my side. So I especially want to tell the younger sisters, do not be influenced by some toxic online chicken soup. Do not have extreme ideas, and even more, do not give up your marriage just for the sake of pursuing financial independence. When we girls are 17 or 18, we should already be thinking about our views on marriage, about whether you will get married, because 20 is the legal marriage age set by the country. So we must plan our lives early and not wait until my age to regret it.
You know, as a woman, to be honest, what I really fear is just getting old. In 1 more month it will be my 39th birthday. I really do not know what I should do. I am about to turn 40, I cannot make enough money myself, I want to do in vitro fertilization but I cannot afford it. I want to find someone to marry, but there is no one that's suitable. Some men are relatively suitable, but their conditions are too poor. Some have good conditions, but they are not attractive. I really feel so annoyed now. To be honest, I'm actually not that anxious about marriage itself. The main thing is still fertility anxiety. Because there is still a long future ahead, a partner can still be hoped for, maybe one day fate will appear. But when it comes to having children, I really am extremely anxious. I am bothered by it every day. If I had enough money in my pocket, that would be great. I would just go and do in vitro fertilization myself. Right now I am anxious every day, I lose sleep over it every day, I cannot fall asleep. I spend whole nights and nights in sleepless anxiety. The people around me, the friends around me, all advise me, hurry up and have a child, that is the most important thing. But I really am not willing to just settle for a man I have no feelings for. What on earth should I do?
没有结婚也没有小孩，我也经常问自己一个问题。
I am already 42 years old. I am not married, and I do not have children. I also often ask myself a question. If I stay single like this, when I get old, get sick, and lie in a hospital bed with no one to take care of me, what should I do? When I was in my 20s and 30s, I never thought about these questions. I always felt that I was still young, not in a hurry, and would definitely meet the right person. But as time passed and as I grew older, I found myself becoming more and more lonely, more and more scared, and more anxious. Some people told me that at my age, not having the burden of children and not having the messiness of marriage is actually great. But I am really very afraid of growing old without companionship, and even more afraid of sickness and loneliness.
33岁了，头发都秃了，都白了，还没有结婚，没有对象，每天就是出租屋和公司2点一线。现在的爱好就是下了班来到公园里面，一个人坐着发呆，看看别人遛娃，看看别人散步，不知道人生的方向在哪，感觉好孤单呀。
What is the final destination for modern women after they get older? A matchmaker shared a true experience of one of her relatives. This woman is 44 years old this year, has a master's degree, has never been married. She is a teacher at a school. She has her own car and her own home, and her parents also have retirement pensions. Because her job and income were all very good, her standards were extremely high. The boyfriend she wanted had to be above 1.8 meters in height. His annual income could not be lower than 500,000 yuan. His parents had to have government or institutional jobs. His home had to be fully paid for, and he had to have high emotional intelligence. In the end, after many years of blind dates, she still did not manage to get married. What truly made her feel the pressure to get married was when she was 35 years old. She discovered that almost all the men she liked chose girls under 30, and some were not even willing to meet her. By the time she was 40, during Chinese New Year and other holidays, she could only eat at home alone with her parents. Her friends all had their own families, so it was very hard to ask them out. Her feelings of loneliness increased every year. So when she was 42, she decided to lower her standards and met a 51-year-old senior bank executive. His annual income was around 500,000 yuan, his house and car were fully paid for, and his parents had retirement pensions. Finally, in the year she turned 43, she married. She married this man who had been divorced and who also had a child. His child was already in university and was about to face issues such as finding a job, buying a home, and getting married. But at 43, she could only accept becoming a stepmother and treat someone else's child as her own, because at her age, giving birth would be very risky. Now she only hopes that when she grows old, this son will treat her a bit better. Before getting married, she said that if time could turn back to when she was 25, she would definitely have accepted the senior who pursued her in college. Even if at that time he did not have a car, a home, or money, she would still have agreed. The reason for telling everyone this story is actually to show that the so-called independent women, modern women, after they get older, their final destination is either to endure a lonely old age after their parents pass away, or to accept a life without children and become a stepmother to someone else's child. So what do you think? What is the reason that these modern Chinese women are being rejected by men?